everyone, my name is Angelica and I'm with the SAISD Foundation, and I'm with first grade teacher Gabrielle Garcia, who is a innovative grant winner for her Sweet and Spicy Grant Community Garden and Bee Hive. So Gabrielle, thank you for being with us today on this weekly series that we're hosting with SAISD Foundation's grant winners to help showcase some of the more innovative grants that we've kind of funded throughout the district. And so tell me about your grant.
Well, originally the idea that I had was mostly to get my kids into healthier eating, as well as show them how even in an urban environment they can still facilitate, what they like to eat, and see the process of taking something and the effort that goes into it, and benefit from that effort themselves, so that they can go, like I said, from farm to table. And it actually turned out to, when I spoke to the kids in my campus, they had a great interest in it. And we originally had a partnership with Texas A&M, who helped us implement it the first time, but it had kind of fallen to the wayside. So we wanted to revitalize it and get this new crop of kids interested in it, and have it really based off of what they wanted to grow, and have them see the fruits of their labor. So when I asked around and I saw the interest in it, I went moved forth with it. And as far as the beehive aspect, we're constantly learning everywhere from the younger grades to the older grades, all these science pieces about life cycles, and how we have a symbiotic relationship with the world around us. And so I was like, what, a beehive would be great. It's small, it's contained, the kids can see it, it's very interactive. And then the model of beehive that we chose has little viewing windows in it. So even so, for people who maybe were a bit cautious about a beehive, because everybody safety first, right? This was something that we could take off the windows, and they could be exposed to it with minimal risk.
Right.
And so it was very engaging for the kids. The first time we did it, was fantastic. And even from the beginning, we got the kit, and the kids themselves built it. They assembled it. So they went
very hands-on, very
exactly
interactive.
So they were thrilled when they got the box. Like, what is this thing? But then as we were putting it together, they realized what all the different pieces were and how it worked together, and how we were going to be able to work with the bees without harming them, but also benefiting ourselves, not just academically, but also they could taste what was produced without harming a living creature in and of itself. So it was great.
So talk to me about farm to table. So the idea is that they see the process of what, like you said, the fruits of their labor in planting the seed, and then seeing it come to harvest. Is that what you say?
Yes. In fact, our group is called the Healthy Harvesters.
Oh,
so it's fantastic. And yes, the students were able to see some of their favorite foods. We have a huge Hispanic population here, and who doesn't love things like salsa, or even on the other end, pickles and things like that. So the kids were able to say, okay, what do I like to eat? And they were able to plant the plants that go with those foods. And then once they grew, they were able to take them and turn them into their favorite foods. We made dishes. We made a huge batch of salsa. Our tomato plants took off. They exploded. There was tomatoes everywhere. So we were thinking, okay, how many different foods can we make from tomatoes?
Mm-hmm.
So, we had everything from pizza sauces to spaghetti sauces to salsa. And of course, the kids did all that work for 60 days or 90 days, and then within one sitting they ate all of it. So they realized, okay,
it takes a process to enjoy the foods that we eat.
Exactly. And they were able to see, okay, I know exactly what's going into my food. It didn't just come from a jar or a can. I know the spices that go in there. I know how flavor is affected by certain spices that I use, and how it doesn't have to be expensive, because our garden was fairly low maintenance. Mostly what it needed was manpower, which the children could do. We had everything from pre-K kids doing it in the summer when we had our kinder camp, all the way up to our 6th graders. So every grade level was able to help in some way, and then they were able to taste it. The recipes that we found and the ingredients that we had were very inexpensive. Anything that wasn't produced in our garden, like salt or pepper, then we could find those, so they could go home and reproduce these recipes in their own home, and use them throughout their entire family and share that knowledge. We had in the summer, which we had the pre-Ks doing it. They were so thrilled. They wanted to go out to the garden every day. They were able to harvest these huge cucumbers that we grew, and they were, aside from the cutting aspect, they pickled them themselves, and through the duration of camp they got to see them ferment, and they got to taste the difference in this is what it started with and this is what it ended with.
And understand that pickles are cucumbers, right?
Yes, so they got to see, they were confused, like, how is this what I taste in this jar? It also, for our older kids, because we did the exact same process once the school year started, they were able to, they said, well, these don't look like the ones we find in the store.
Right.
So then we got to take it a step further and explain to them, okay, well, they don't look like this in the store because there's chemicals added to it, but they can, exactly, food coloring, things like that. We looked at recipe, ingredients labels. And so they were able to look at it from that perspective. Exactly. And so they were able to tell, okay, well, they taste the same and they're both just as delicious, so why can't I make them at home?
And these are probably better for you because they don't have all the added
exactly
stuff.
So they were able to process it, and we talked about how it goes through the body much easier and is a lot better for their system, more vitamins that get saved and not lost in the process.
So you've had this innovative grant that was granted to you for about a year or so?
Yes.
Or how long has this, you were awarded last year?
Yes, so we were awarded last year. We were able to start implementing it in February of last year, so we're almost going on a full year of having it. And from the beginning, it was a fantastic community event because we were able to get people from our partnership with Army South right here at Fort Sam. They sent out one of their squadrons to help us build the thing. So of course the kids were super excited to have, these soldiers come over. They were able to build. They were able to, put all the pieces that they had envisioned in our plan when we were, because we had Garden Club from August. So we've been talking about, this is going to be the plan we implement. Let's get the volunteers in here. So the kids were very much part of that from the beginning, even though we didn't have the funds right away. And so for them to be able to get the volunteers in there and help with that organization, they got to see like, hey, I didn't just have to talk this out. It's live and in person now. So they were,
and they're involved in that process.
Exactly. So they were very excited to get all the hardware and everything put up.
So the impact of this grant is not just on the students that you teach specifically in first grade, but it's across the campus, right?
That's right. When we originally started,
also that like even in the community, like you said, with bringing in Fort Sam to
yes, I was very excited when we started last year because we started without the funds. The kids were like, oh, I can't really see where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to visualize without concrete things. And so we had about 6 students that stayed with us through the full year. And then when we started this year, of course, word had spread amongst the kids who were still here. And so we're almost 3 times as big. And there's plenty of children who are even still now asking, hey, can I come join? And we're more than happy to have them.
So do you think you could have done what you've been able to accomplish with this grant without the grant being awarded to you?
No, because honestly, we really needed that front loading. The funds were so beneficial to have, because then we could take that time and put in all the planning that we did in this big dream that the kids had. And I didn't have to worry about telling them like, hey, you only have this much. Let's not.
We have to wait till whenever.
Exactly. So it gave them so much more freedom, and I didn't have to tell them no. So they were able to generate whatever creativity we came up with.
So would you recommend somebody like yourself that has an idea or a dream, like you mentioned, to apply for an innovative grant?
I absolutely do already. Every time, even the mini grants, the innovative grants, the new teacher grants, anytime somebody comes up and they have an idea, I was like, do you know, there's somewhere out there, there is money out there, and I'm always happy to tell them, like, the process, it's not overly complicated. It's very streamlined. It makes sense when it comes on there. And I'm more than happy to tell anybody, hey, if you're confused or anything, either you can talk to them, or I'll be more than happy to help you with any pieces you may be missing, or give them tips and tricks that will make things simpler for themselves.
And do you, in the amount of time that you've been working with your students, as far as the community garden, anybody who kind of like just changed their kind of confidence level and like them being able to participate in this kind of project, any kind of impact story through the children?
Absolutely, especially with my younger children. Of course, we see the older children, they have a little more confidence, they're more sure of themselves, but I've had several of my shy first, second, third graders who they come to Garden Club and they're happy to talk, and then I hear from their teachers that, in fact, I heard from one of my third grade teachers that one of my shy students from Garden Club, they'd been doing a unit about bees And he was able to stand up because he kept raising his hand and giving facts that we had learned about the hive. And she asked him, well, do you want to come up and tell everybody? And he had a moment where he stood up and he pretty much just gave a report about the things we had learned in Garden Club.
That's
and I was
amazing.
like, yay! So,
I mean, and that's
fantastic.
what we want, right?
Exactly.
To make sure that the students are equipped with not just the ideas, but
the hands-on aspects of it. Exactly. And
to learn and become better learners.
Exactly. And things like that, you know, they stick with them. I remember the projects I did as a kid, and I'm sure these kids will remember them when they get older, you know, certain things that they see, because you see bees everywhere, you see food everywhere. So these are things that the kids will take as they get older as well.
Can you tell me the story about the bees landing?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, of course, we also purchase bee suits and things like that. And our beehive, for security purposes, is behind a very large fence, but the bees don't stay there. So we went outside, and the teachers and all of us got dressed in our gear. We opened up the hive. We took out several of the combs so the kids could locate the queen. And of
Is
course,
it hard to do?
Well, if you know what you're looking for, no. But we were very lucky. The bee farm that we got our particular hive from, for the first month or so, they have a animal safe dye that they put on the queen. So she was bright pink. And so
she stands out.
She stands out. So we took out, and so they had to look for them, but there's 5 different frames in there. So of course they still had to do some searching. So we were taking them out, and once you take them out, the bees start moving everywhere.
Right.
So the kids are all on the outside of the fence, but the bees are coming, and their first instinct, of course, like most of us, is to either fan your arms or run away and things like that. But we had pre-coached them, like, hey, we'd done the lesson about pollination and what bees are looking for and things like that. So we would ask the kids questions like, well, do you have pollen on you? Or are you sweet? Are you sugary? Do you have any nectar? And so the kids, of course, said no. I said, stand still and see what they do. And so at certain points, the bees would land on their shirts or on their belt or even, you know, on their arm. And the kids would stand perfectly still and the bee would fly away. So the kids now saw it as a badge of honor, like, oh, the bee landed on me. And so they were like, look, it didn't do anything. But it helped them. We walked them through that fear to get over what we naturally shy away from, to understand that if you don't have what it's looking for, it's not going to harm you. They're there for a purpose.
Safety first, but
yeah,
still.
Exactly. And as long as you don't threaten it, it sees nothing wrong with you, it won't threaten you. Absolutely. That kind of thing. So,
well, thank you so much for your time today, Gabrielle. We really appreciate just learning more about what it is that you're doing to help impact the students at your school and across the district. So we're really excited to continue this series. And also, if you're interested in applying for a innovative grant like Gabrielle has won, you can visit our website, which is SAISDfoundation.com, click on Apply for Grants, and our deadline and application is on our website. So please help spread the word in that way, and hopefully we can see you next week with another grant winner. So thank you so much.